Good evening, everyone. And definitely, I would say if you haven't invited someone on, please, you need to send them the link today. Will be extra special where I'll be going through the different herbal remedies for different ailments that I know persons would have or is going through. So get a book, a paper, and get your pen, and let's go right in. Thank you for your kind words. All right, so today we'll be talking about rational remedies. And this, we are looking at two books, two wonderful books, Healthful Living and Counsels on Diet and Food. And if you don't have those books, I would strongly advise there are soft copies. Ask for a soft copy from the person who invited you on. I know that if you want to take your health to the next level, then these two books are really, really amazing. And not only good information, but as Dr. Morgan said last week, they enlighten us, right? Where health and wellness is concerned. All right, so philosophy on health. As the Bible says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. So the Lord wants us to be healthy. The Lord wants us to be flourishing. Sickness is not of God. Sickness is a violation, as you would have heard in the other presentations, a violation of the laws that God placed, gave us that we violate, and then there comes sickness, right? So it's not of God. That's first thing that we have to understand and believe. All right, so a quotation, this is from Ministry of Healing. It's another wonderful book. It says, the only hope of better things is in the education of people in right principles. Let physicians teach the people that restorative power is not in drugs, but in nature. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, you have to ascertain the cause many times, and we're going to go through these illnesses. Many times, the first thing that we do when we get these symptoms, what do we try to do? We try to lessen the symptoms, not understanding that these symptoms would have come about because of specific causes. So you have to figure out what is causing my headache, what is causing this fever, what is causing this rash, what is happening. And then it says unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. So when you figure out what is happening, then you say, okay, and definitely, as I said, I'm going to go into them. When you figure out what is happening, then you try to make those necessary corrections. It says, then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to establish right conditions in the system. If you believe that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, then understand that your body is very intelligent. And with an intelligent body, all it needs is some help from nature. All it needs is some changes that you need to do, lifestyle changes, and your body will get back to normal, right? So it says there are many, that's the third point here, there are many ways of practicing the healing art. So you have many forms of healing. But it says there is only one way that heaven approves, and that is God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties, right? So when you look at drugs, and I know last week we spoke on that, It's very specific, very, very specific. When you look at natural ways, you water, when you look at sunlight, these are, when you look at herbs, you have one herb that does so many different things because it acts in a holistic way on the body. Right. So when you look at these things, you realize that they don't tax the body if used properly. Right? It says pure air, water, cleanliness, a proper diet, purity of life. How is the lifestyle? How is the life? How is the mind? And a firm trust in God are remedies for the want of which thousands are dying. Wow. Yet these remedies are going out of date because their skillful use requires work that people do not appreciate. And that is so true. Many times when I start someone on a protocol, guess what? 2 days after, oh, I don't see nothing yet. But no, that's not how nature works. That's not how natural remedies work. You have to be patient. It helps you to exercise patience as you are changing. Because the reality is that a disease does not come 2 days time. A disease comes after years of violation of the laws of health. So correction will not take place in 2 days, right? No, it will take place after some time. All right, so it says fresh air, exercise, pure water, and clean, sweet premises are within the reach of all with but little expense. Wow. So God gave us these helps for our bodies. We're gonna move on now to these health principles. It says the use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Right? So I don't know, but many times I don't, unless it's a general thing, I don't list those, say, okay, this is for that, this is for that, this is for that. And the reason for that is because persons are, like, for example, you say, okay, someone is suffering with sleep, um, insomnia, right? And it's all right, get some soursop leaf and boil soursop leaf, and they boil it one time or two times, and they're like, oh, but this not working. But no, when you're using natural remedies, it takes time. You have to give it a space of maybe like a month or so, depending on the protocol that you're using, right? And it takes effort. It takes you having to prepare, and it takes, so you have to give it time. And as I said, it requires patience that not many, and care that not many persons are willing to do. All right, so nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient, it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulges requires sacrifice. So when the cause most times of diseases is what? The hurtful things that we do to our bodies. And to give up those, because it would have formed a habit, to give up that habit, and it takes sacrifice. But in the end, it will be found that nature, Antramel, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. So it talks about eating temperately, don't overeat, engaging in healthful exercise, having a cheerful spirit. Many times we walk around with the badge of grumpiness, the badge of sadness. No, the Lord does not delight in gloomy Christians. The Lord wants us to be cheerful. And many times we have to ask the Lord for that spirit. Ask the Lord for a cheerful spirit. Ask and it shall be given. So exercise and a free, abundant use of air and sunlight, something as simple as that. These are blessings which heaven has bestowed upon us. Many times from work, from home, under a building to work well, in our traveling, we go in a car, we're covered, work, we're covered, no sunlight. So you can't get even the simple benefit of sunlight. Water, we don't prioritize drinking water. So many persons are dehydrated, and we're going to go through those things, right? Let those who are sick do all in their power by correct practice in eating, drinking, dressing. We spoke about dressing before, and by taking judicious exercise to secure the recovery of health. And lastly, it says in our sanitariums, we advocate the use of simple remedies. We discourage the use of drugs, for they poison the current of the blood. In these institutions, sensible instruction should be given how to eat, how to drink, how to dress, and how to live, so that the health may be preserved. All right. So we're going to go into this, and this is a very touchy topic, but I'm excited to share about this. Symptoms are your friends. Yes, symptoms are your friends. Many times as the symptoms come, as I said, a little rash comes, we rub a little cream on it to, prevent, to stop the spread of the rash, which is okay, and to make the rash disappear. But it is a symptom and it is your friend. So let's go into what that means. Nature, as the book says, nature was doing her best to rid the system of accumulation of impurities. So when we have impurities, nature tries to rid it through the different organs of elimination, including the skin, right? And could she have been left to herself, aided by the common blessings of heaven, such as pure air, pure water, speedy and safe cure, would have been effected. So I know, like, for example, a man, he had gout issues for years. And every time he would go to the doctor, he would, they would give him something and the goat dry up, and like maybe twice per year, the flare up, so that he just settles on it. Okay, these are flare ups. These happen. This is a part of my life. No. And he went through a thorough cleanse, colon, uric acid cleanse. And in that time, guess what? The goat broke out. The goat was it was there. And you're like, what is happening to me? The goat is there. Oh my goodness. And all of these things. And guess what? I said, he was counseled to just allow your body. You are dealing with the inside. You're helping your body. So just allow your body to do what it should do. And after that, the goat, after the cleanse and stuff, the goat dried up, and he never experienced the goat again. Never. So the body needs help. The goat is saying, look, something is in me that needs correcting. And then when you correct it, it's gonna go through its bout, it's gonna take its course. But after that, and you're helping your body through, then after that, nothing. Your body is cured. Yes, that's a word that we don't throw around anymore because of the long-term abuse of drugs, right? So it says, but generally the persons who suffer in pain becomes impatient. Yes, just like the gentleman. They are not willing to use self-denial and suffer a little from hunger, etc. He says, if the people would reason from cause to effect, what is causing this? What did I do wrong? What did I put in my body that is causing this? Then he says, and would follow the light which shines upon them. So all these health series and all the information on nature and herbs and natural remedies that you would have gotten, he said they would pursue a course which would ensure health, and morality would be far less. Mortality, sorry, would be far less. But the people are too willing to remain in inexcusable ignorance and their bodies to the doctors and trust their bodies to the doctors instead of having any special responsibility themselves. Someone said, one of my friends said that, I go to the doctor, and guess what the doctor's saying? The doctor is asking me what happened to me instead of, trying to assess. But the doctor is right. What nobody knows your body more than you. Nobody knows what you're going through more than you. And so because of that, you have to put yourself in the place of studying your body, studying how this temple works and what is wrong. Figure out what am I allergic to. From a tender age, I didn't know that I was allergic to dairy. I realized that every time, like after, like if I drink anything or eat anything that has as in dairy, like 2 days after, I would have a splitting headache, like very pounding, splitting headache. But because it came 2 days after, it was so hard for me to figure out that that is the issue. And it took me some time to realize that if when I do this, this happen. So that is how we have to reason. What is the cause? And this is the reason for this, right? Right? He says, but the people are too unwilling to, yes, we went through that already. So nature alone is the effectual restorer. So let's move on. So symptoms are our friend. For example, we're going to go into fever, and this is from it's according to the American Journal of Childhood Diseases and the Journal of American Osteopathic Association. So it says that a fever is the body's perfect response to fighting infection. Did we know that? Many times, yes. Studies show that reducing the fever with a pill may increase the severity and duration of the illness. Yes, 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 yes. Right? So 13 different studies show that your child's risk of permanent damage from a fever are not reduced by using anti-fever drugs. And the lists are there. And did you know that a fever creates an environment within the body in which bacteria and viruses cannot survive? So when bacteria or virus enters the body's natural response is to heat up, aka have a fever. And with heat, just like why do you heat food? When you leave food out, why do you heat it up? You heat it up to kill the bacteria, right? So that's what your body does too. It heats, the body creates that heat to kill the bacteria and to kill the viruses. Now, when we suppress this fever, the virus and the bacteria, they roar, they take off, they do what they want to do because the environment which will slow them down is suppressed because we believe that fever is the enemy. However, I'm gonna put some precautions there. It says to support a fever, ensure get your spine adjusted. Ensure to drink plenty of water. Eat light. So when you have a fever or when your child has a fever and he or she or you don't feel like eating, it's important to eat. Eat light, like maybe soups and so on, to help your body to get that nourishment and get adequate rest. When you have a fever, after the bout of floor cold, don't you feel tired and exhausted? Yes, the body is speaking. The body said, look, I need some rest. I did hard work just now, and I need some rest. So fever, which is the most common cause or the most common causes of fever are infections, like you have your cold, your stomach bug, like gastroenteritis. Other causes include infection of the ear, lung, skin, throat, bladder, kidney, right? So heat exhaustion and overdressing can also cause fever. Now, gastroenteritis, in my little time, I realized, especially having children, I don't know if anybody have ever experienced this, but whenever there is, that time, there are always the seasons of gastroenteritis. And I give my kids warm out and everything goes back to normal. That's something. I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting that out there. Okay. All right. So the body won't allow you or your toddler's temperature to exceed 105 degrees Celsius for viral and bacterial infection, right? The body won't allow that. Lowering the body's temperature is counterproductive. Doctors usually give you a medication because you will think that he's doing, many times you go to the doctor and if the doctor does not give us a prescription, I've seen where doctors even write over the counter, um, like Panadol, where you can get over the counter. I've seen the doctor write it on prescription, that alone, and give to people. And the reason for that is that the people don't feel like the doctors have done anything unless they give them something, which you don't necessarily need anything most of the time, right? So most persons have fever phobia, and the body produces pyrogens that causes a rise in the body's temperature. If you feel uncomfortable, you can always have a sponge bath. I remember a friend of mine, her child had a wicked fever. They didn't have any form of transportation. It was after hours, right? And we're gonna go into that. And we're there online together, monitoring the temperature and so on. So your duty is to monitor the temperature and don't allow the temperature to go above 105 degrees Celsius. That's your duty, because sometimes our bodies are out of whack. We give the children anything, we put anything in our bodies, so our bodies cannot properly correct what is going on. I must put that in, right? So we're there monitoring the fever. And I said, okay, what you can do is to it was a baby. I said, boil some time. I'm gonna go into that. Give the baby wasn't taking that, some time tea, Jamaican THYME tea. Yeah, baby wasn't taking that. So I said, okay, still boil it and allow it to cool, slightly warm. And just put the feet of the baby and the hands of the baby in the water, right? And the fever was lowered, was still there, but it was lowered to a safe range where the body could continue its job, right? So it's amazing what, natural remedies can do and not putting a lot of toxic stuff in the body will result in. All right, so however, if you have temperatures over 105, any behavioral issues, of course, if you don't have any form of training, no professionals near you, go to the hospital. All right? Yes. If you don't have any idea, no knowledge of anything much where that is concerned, yes, go to the hospital. I'm big on that. So many times your children have suffered from fever and ague. This is from the book, brought on by improper eating, as I said before, when their parents were accountable for their sicknesses. So we have to be mindful and be careful of what we give our children, what goes into their bodies, because even what you eat itself can allow the blood to be feverish and have a fever, right? So the cause, as I said, has to be ascertained. Very, very important. All right, so headaches, we're gonna go to headaches. Pain is nature's way of signaling that something is wrong. Possible causes of headaches. All right. Dehydration. When someone says that they have a terrible headache, I say, how is your water intake from yesterday? Oh, I didn't take any water, I only took some water in the morning, or whatever the reason is. But most times, dehydration. I realize most persons are dehydrated because they don't prioritize water. Emotional stress can cause headache, lack of magnesium. I said, okay, get some magnesium supplements and let's talk after, you know. Maybe you're going through a flu or a cold, sinusitis can trigger a headache as well. Trauma or food allergy, lack of sleep, or if you have migraine headache because of the food allergy, these are causes. So don't just say, okay, I'm gonna take headache pills until. No, figure out the cause. The cause is very important. Sometimes the reason is eye pain. Yes, so figure out the cause, right? All right, so if it's viral, of course, for example, you have to allow your body to go through the virus, so you boost your immunity. Yes, we talk about magnesium, your vitamin D levels, and of course, we spoke about keeping hydrated. Some things that we can put in our bodies that can cause headache as well. Alcohol, particularly red wine. Certain foods such as processed meats that contains nitrates, which based on the meat industry now, nitrates is a big thing that they put on processed meat. Consuming nicotine, if you have changes in sleep or lack of sleep, that can cause headache. So of course, you want to go ahead and correct the sleep issue. Poor posture, physical activity, such as exercise. So it can be a trigger for your headache. Food, as I said, the flu virus and so on, these can trigger your headaches. So find out what is happening and ensure that you deal with it. Provide a warm, sensitive, caring, loving environment for yourself or for the patient. As I said, it could be stress related. How you can lessen that, of course, after you provide that calm, caring environment, you can take like ashwagandha or rhodiola. Those are very good adaptogens for stress. Yes. Do a cleanse to rid parasite, heavy metals, inorganic substances that may trigger the headache. And I think I shared before in one of my talks before that a lady that was suffering from severe headache and she did a colon cleanse, and in the cleanse she realized that she had crayons in the cleanse. Yes, when she had crayons in her stool. So the person that was administering that cleanse said, you know what, ask your mommy, when did you eat crayons? Because obviously I guess she wouldn't be eating it at that age. Her mom told her that when she was about 2, she sat down and ate a lot of crayons. And yes, she was, I think, in her 40s at the time. The crayons were still there and were wreaking havoc. Can you imagine if that lady was, just popping the pills, popping the headache pills, and the crayons would be inside her from the age of 2, wreaking havoc. The crayons were telling her, look, the headaches were telling her that something is inside that needs to come out. So it's very important to get the cause. All right. Yeah. And of course, you have headaches. If persons who struggle with high blood pressure, it's always good to lessen the headaches or any pain, because pain can raise the blood pressure even more. So you don't want that. So we have natural painkillers like the Jamaican dogwood. I think almost every community has a dogwood tree in Jamaica. Our guinea hen weed is comfrey. white willow, but of course, persons who has high blood pressure, the white willow wouldn't necessarily be for you where the headache. But Jamaican dogwood, guinea hen, comfrey, these are great herbs for headache. And of course, headaches caused by trauma, loss of consciousness, or dizziness should be brought to the hospital. You can't treat that on your own at home. All right. All right, so we're gonna go into coughs and colds. I really like this topic, especially now that here in Jamaica you have a very bad flu going around. So cough is the body's natural way of getting rid of pathogens. So you have to understand that your body is your friend, symptoms are your friend, right? Yes, so cough is the natural. When you cough, the pathogens they come out. When you have mucus production, the pathogens are in the mucus. That's why I say cover your mouth when you cough so you don't spread, right? Yes, so these are your body's way of getting rid of what is happening. So it sometimes is very annoying to go through that. And so we try to take some cough suppressants to suppress the cough. But guess what? Whatever is happening, the viral infection, it stays longer because the process by which the body used to eliminate them, you would have suppressed it, right? Yeah. So you have several cold preparations that contain dextromethorphan hydrobromide. These have many side effects, which for example, lessen the cognitive skills and can also lead to mental impairments, especially in children. Decongestions are temporary and usually the body's reflex is to get more congested. I don't know if you've ever you taken decongestions and after it wears off, you feel more congested. Yes, that happens sometimes. That's the body's way of getting into balance so that it can actually do what it's supposed to do, right? And most of them has a lot of alcohol. So if you are someone who is not, who does not take alcohol, I don't believe that alcohol should be taken in the body. It's not a food group unless you have situations like tinctures and so on, where that's most potent. And of course, some persons prefer glycerides, but I don't believe alcohol is to be taken into the body, right? It causes a lot of things like dehydration. So if you're taking alcohol, alcohol actually dehydrates the cells. So it triggers headaches, triggers arthritis. We're gonna go through that as well. It triggers so many things. Some assistance that you can give the body from nature. You have your mullein herb. For Jamaicans, we have our garlic and we have our thyme. Yes. And we have our good cold bush. I don't know if persons on here know cold bush. It's so amazing. That's my go-to when my children are going through their bouts. It allows you to, it doesn't stop or suppress the cold. It allows them to get rid of the cold pretty quickly. And nowadays, I realized that when she catches the virus, a cold virus, it lasts like for one day. She have a low grade fever and she sleeps, give her a little soup with a lot of thyme and garlic and stuff in it. And by the next day, she's good, up and giving trouble again. So, and the same with my son. So the Jamaican cold bush is everywhere. I don't think a child or an adult should be struggling with a cold virus on their chest for too long. That can lead to pneumonia. And you have cold bush on almost everybody's, neighbor's fence. So this is what it looks like down here. They call it rice and peas bush as well. Yes. And it's very tasty. The children love it. Yes. All right. So another herb that we spoke about earlier is thyme. And I spoke about the fact that you can, if the child has a fever which is too high, you can use the thyme You can just boil the time just like normal, allow the water to warm, place the hands or the feet in it, and the fever will go to a low-grade fever where the body can work, or even adults as well. All right, so thyme is very powerful. Most people have this in their refrigerator or in their kitchen. So it's a potent antioxidant, it's robust for respiratory support, it's an immune booster, antimicrobial agents, promotes digestive health, it's anti-inflammatory, supports heart health, it aids skin health, has potential cognitive benefits, release menstrual discomfort. So you want to, time should be in your in your kitchen. It's one of those nice, powerful herb. All right, so going through the cold again, the cold virus, the use of onions. So if you're congested with thick mucus, the body needs help. So you assist it, you can assist it through the use of onion or steaming. All right, so, and of course, ensure to keep hydrated. So over here, this is when you have severe congestion. So what's in the syringe is saline solution, that tip of salt with water. I prefer filtered water, right? And you can mix it and just squirt it in the nostril. And of course, right here, as you see the top picture, you see the mucus coming out. It's a very, very good help, especially for babies who can't blow the nose, or if the mucus is very thick and lodged and, a little up more in the nostril. You also have your onion poultice. This is my go-to when my children have a cough. I know you can steam the onions, but personally, I beat up the onion. So I prefer the white onion. So you cut it up, I beat it up, place it, I put a little olive oil on the chest and place it on the chest and the chest area where the lung would be, and also to the back. And I wrap the chest and the coughing. It helps them, it reduces the cough, as well as it also assists in reducing the inflammation, soothes the ache and pain if there is any. It promotes blood circulation, and it's a natural antiseptic and antimicrobial. You also place onion in the bottom of the feet. It helps with fever and inflammation as well. So these are some remedies that you can incorporate when going through the flu virus. All right, steaming. We spoke about steaming earlier. So some leaves that you can use, or you can use the essential oils, eucalyptus leaves, peppermint leaves, or if you have the essential oil, thyme, rosemary, mullein. So you have the pot, you can lightly boil, and that little recipe is here. So boil 4 to 6 cups of water, add the herbs, let simmer for 5 to 10 minutes, remove from heat, and you can add the essential oils, 2 to 3 drops, eucalyptus, peppermint, tea tree, lavender. You carefully lean over the bowl. Put the towel over your head. Close your eyes, because sometimes, especially the eucalyptus, it can, be a little stingy to the eyes. And taking some deep breaths, 10 to 15 minutes. Blow your nose gently after steaming, right? So this is very, very good for persons who, during that time of flu, or generally, if you have sinusitis, this is very good as well. Going to the next slide. Water. Water is one of those amazing properties, or elements, sorry, that nature gives us with these wonderful, wonderful properties. All right, so the use of water can accomplish but little if the patient does not feel the necessity of also strictly attending to his diet. So, as I said, diet is very important, what you put in your body. Very, very important. These are some benefits of water. Water detoxes the body. So drink warm water in the morning to cleanse the colon, improve digestion, and boost metabolism. So this is an assistance. Use water compress. Use warm or cool compresses to reduce pain, swelling, fever, and inflammation. Abdominal wraps, you can use that. It helps constipation, bloating, menstrual cramps, support digestive health. Full body bath, very, very good. So you can, whatever herbs that you would want, especially for children who don't necessarily like to take the herbs, you boil and you can just lay them in it in warm water, warm almost room temperature, okay? Or you can lay down in your warm water, and it has so many powerful health benefits, because remember, your skin has pores which will allow the healing properties to be absorbed. All right. Ice water therapy reduces muscle soreness, improves circulation, and boosts alertness. We've had persons who have back pain, can't move, and we did the hot and cold. We have a basin of hot water, a basin of warm water, a basin of cold icy water, and we interchange. And after that, the person is good and well, back in walking up and down and so on. So water is very, very, very powerful. So yes. And of course, you have sitz bath as well. So for persons with hemorrhoids, persons struggling with different, vaginal ailments, you have sitz bath as well. That and urinary tract infection, that water that will help. All right, so I'm going through. So arthritis, we're gonna go through arthritis, some lifestyle changes, what you can do in helping arthritis. All right, so this is the inflammation of the joint. Many types of arthritis. You have osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and gout. I spoke about gout. Osteoarthritis for persons, I think a little note was here. For persons struggling with osteoarthritis, especially most times it's from dehydration, because the cartilage itself is made up of 60 to 70% water. So imagine you're not drinking water day in, day out. The body will take water from other sources. It will take water from the joints. It will take water from the stool. Yes, yes. So when when you're dehydrated, it's gonna just take water. So the stool that you have, especially if you're backed up, imagine that. And the little water you have in your stool, the body reabsorbs. So it's very important to prioritize the drinking of water. So for persons with osteoarthritis, what I normally suggest to them is for them to take 10 to 16 glasses of water per day to help fill back that synovial fluid and to help regenerate back that cartilage. Yes, you're dehydrated. So instead of depending on the painkillers, ascertain the cause and correct it. Right? And also dehydration, it reduces the absorption of calcium as well. Yes, so if you want strong bones, drink your water. Okay, someone asked in the chat, can a sitz bath help with extended menstrual bleeding caused by fibroids? Yes, yes. What I normally advise persons to do is to get some cold, icy water, very cold. So yeah, if you have extended bleeding, normally the time of menstrual cycle is 3 to 5 days. So if it goes beyond, say, up to 10, 13 days, so especially, with that situation. Normally tell persons to get the cold icy water, and sit in it. Yes, and sit in it, do that twice a day until the menstrual cycle, until the menstruation stop. It will stop it. All right. But of course, with that, you still need to balance back the hormones, shrink the fibroids. Fibroids can be shrunken with naturally. Balance back the hormones and get your body back in yes, get your body back to normal, okay? To optimal health. I think that's what I wanted. Yes. So arthritis at age 35 plus doesn't mean that you didn't have inflammation throughout your younger years. It could have been that it's now localized. Okay. So many times persons think that, oh, I'm old now, so it's time for me to have, that's natural. But the inflammation was there before. It's just that your body now is showing it up. We spoke about osteoarthritis. Each calcium eat calcium-rich foods like your soy milk, your broccoli, your okra. Acidic food will lessen calcium absorption. So the refined foods, your sugars, your dairy, these are very, very acidic, right? So you can eat these like your soy, your broccoli, okra, these are very, very rich in calcium. NSAIDs are usually prescribed, which often make the condition worse because reduce it actually wears the cartilage. Yes, so many times we go to the doctors, they give you the ibuprofen, they give you the different pain medication, but and you take it because you want to get rid of the pain. Pain is uncomfortable, but these actually worsen. So you have to um try to approach it in a more natural form. So during menopause, the body takes calcium from the bone due to estrogen imbalance. Too low level estrogen causes increased inflammation. So if you're around menopausal age, it's very important to get your calcium up. And I know seaweed is a very rich source of calcium. Yes, so you definitely need to, or else your body will use that calcium, and then that's why they said menopause normally comes with osteoporosis. But if you correct it, then you will see the difference. So it can be caused by a combination of nutritional deficiencies. Iron from blackstrap molasses and vegetables rich in iron is better than ferrous sulfate derived from some supplements, derivatives, sorry, from some supplements which lodges in the joint. So it's best to have your natural iron, and it comes from blackstrap molasses, vegetables such as your spinach, your mustard greens. These are very rich in iron. So don't take calcium without phosphorus and vitamin D and magnesium and a little magnesium. Taking calcium alone, it robs the bone of other minerals to form the calcium complex to be absorbed. So you definitely don't want that. All right, so what is the science behind this arthritis? It says there are various studies on the impact of diet on inflammation. Many persons now are suffering from inflammation. They have inflammation all over the body. And the face normally looks really puffy. I realize that. And so when about 600 participants went on a vegan diet, and guess what? The inflammation in the body significantly reduced. Yes, so I would definitely advise. I know we had different presentation on different vegan substitutes and so on. I would strongly advise you that, take the time to go through your vegan recipes and transition. All right. Avoid eating certain foods if you have arthritis. It may help people with arthritis management based on their symptoms. All right, so foods such as the nightshade vegetables like tomatoes, bell peppers, chili peppers, eggplants, and these are some substitutes that you can have. Okay, so instead of the white potatoes, you can have your cauliflower or your sweet potatoes, your eggplants. Instead of your bell peppers, you can have your celery, your radishes. Instead of tomatoes, you can have your beets, your carrots. Instead of the cayenne pepper or red pepper flakes, you can have your ground black pepper or your ground white pepper. All right, not the ensure that you have the black pepper itself and you grind it yourself, okay? Also, persons who struggle with arthritis, we have seen where you have a buildup of purines, right? And you have purines which converts to uric acid, and that is from meat consumption. So organ meats such as liver and red meat and so on, these build up uric acid in the body. So when persons are going through arthritis, the first step that I normally do is to have them start not well a colon cleanse and then uric acid cleanse. Yes, to help what is happening. And we spoke about gout earlier, and this is due to a buildup of uric acid in the body. So don't just treat the topical issue that you're seeing, but it is from within. So this is due to a buildup of uric acid in the blood and joints due to kidney disease, meat eating, or taking aspirin and diuretics. All right. So protocol, a simple protocol is, as I said, you go through a uric acid cleanse. This normally takes about up to 3 months. Yes, a uric acid cleanse. So that's what I do where that is concerned. Locally, what I would advise is that you do a potato poultice. I've seen this. A lady, she's in her 60s. She couldn't go up the stairs. And she did the potato poultice every day. And guess what happened? She started going up the stairs. Yes. Also, a lady that she was basically bedridden. Her feet were swollen, her ankles were swollen, and we went together, the change in the diet, the cleanse, the uric acid cleanse, and also the potato poultice. And then I got news that she was up and about, working, exercising, and now every day, every now and then I see on her status she posing up at church. It's so wonderful. And I can tell you that when you treat your body well, when you reach the cause, when you try to establish the cause and you try to correct it, your body will correct itself. All right, so this is how you go about doing the potato, the Irish potato. You grate it and you apply it directly over, you can apply it on a cloth and you put it over the area, over the joint. And when it turns black, you can take it off. It draws out inflammation. It also helps with any sprain, any sore, as in soreness. It does wonders. All right, so we're gonna go into cleansing. We spoke about it a lot just now. Cleansing is the first step in starting on a health journey. And one of the reasons is that your body, your gut, you need to correct the gut so that when you're on any therapy, it can be readily absorbed. Your body can, and also you generally are in good health. Even for persons with high estrogen issues, did you know that the body gets rid of excess estrogen naturally? But guess what? When the colon is clogged, the estrogen stays there and is reabsorbed in the body. Yes. And so you're trying to eliminate the colon is backed up and it goes right back in. That's why I tell persons never to do a liver cleanse without doing a colon cleanse, because every toxin in the liver will go back into the colon and just go back in the system because the colon is backed up. All right. So cleansing helps helps the body get rid of toxins and buildup of chemicals because of unhealthy eating. Many times we especially as Jamaicans, even Americans, you eat a lot of whites, your white flour, your white rice. These are they lack fiber. And because of that, guess what happened? There is nothing to really sweep the colon. And yes, and they're dehydrated, so there's nothing to help the colon, the stool to pass along the colon. So definitely most persons are ill. And I heard of the unfortunate situation of the young lady who had the baby. She had a baby just, I think it's sometime this month. And because she was backed up, she died. Yes, that was so unfortunate. So we have to pay attention to those, to the colon. Clean colon will help your body to eliminate. A typical person might have up to 5 or more pounds of stool in the colon who have done a cleanse. And of course, this cleansing principle is in the Bible when in Matthew 23:26, when it says, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them, sorry, that the outside of them may be clean also. So sometimes we try to patch up the outside, pretty up the outside, but inside is unclean. And so it just start breaking out. You're going through acne, about acne. Guess what? You put all the chemicals that you can find, herbs and everything on the outside. But if the colon and the liver is backed up, it's gonna come back. You're gonna have breakouts, 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 because the body, that the skin is a form of elimination. So you're gonna have it until you correct what is happening. When you correct inside, then outside will correct. I've had persons who do a cleanse and guess what? They start having breakouts and they're like, Miss Williamson, I can't take this breakout. And I said, go through it, go through it. Your cold, your body's cleaning, go through it. And afterwards, the breakout clear up and the skin is flawless, right? So you have to do that. Take the time to actually go through that. When you know that it's time to do a cleanse, if you have 5 or more of the following indication, it's time to do a cleanse. So if you have body odor or bad breath, eat meat more than 3 times a week, have a high fat diet, low fiber diet, lack of balanced diet, regular consumption of dairy foods, skin or complexion problems, monthly female concerns, recurrent yeast or fungal infection, that's big. The blood needs some cleansing, okay? Feeling low, uninterested or depressed, sometimes that low feeling of depression, yeah, man, the colon is backed up. It needs and whenever I feel like my body tells me when I need to cleanse, yeah, man, that feeling comes on, that low feeling, like, how you feel so low? No, the body is telling you that it's time for it to do a cleanse. All right. If you don't exercise regularly, regular exercise throws off toxins through the skin, respiratory, sinus, or allergy. As I told you before, that lady with the crayons, whatever, sometimes things that you're allergic to is still in the stool. And your body reabsorbs and reabsorbs and reabsorbs, and then you have those issues same way. Recent or frequent use of antibiotic, so recovery from illness. So if you find yourself that every flu that comes about, you have it and it takes so long to go away, it tells you that your body needs some help. Less than 2 bowel movements per day. So I've had a lot of different experiences with persons who go to the toilet once per week. That's not normal, especially if you eat 3 big meals for the day. If you eat 3 big lunches for the day, going once per week is not normal. And if you continue like that, you will be sick. Yes, it is not normal. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on before I wrap up. So tips on maintaining a healthy colon. Ensure that you have your fiber. Your fiber is very important. Water is necessary to soften stool, and it also helps to lessen the thickness or viscosity of the mucus. Proper diet, like your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your nuts. These have fiber along with vitamins and minerals. Exercise will help your peristalsis. It will help the movement of your bowel so that the stool can go, yeah. So the stool can be eliminated. Reduce stress. When you're under excessive stress, the entire digestive system tends to shut down. Yes, so you have to pay attention to that. As a result, peristalsis slows down. Friendly bacteria, the good bacteria break down food. So after antibiotic therapy, I normally encourage persons to get some probiotics in so that you can replace the good bacteria. So some popular diseases, hypertension and hypertension, we have a range which is normal, which is less than 120 for systolic, and diastolic less than 80. I must tell you that some persons struggle with high white coat hypertension. So when they go to the doctor, the heart naturally start racing because a sense of a series of nervousness and all that takes over. And so you have persons who go to the doctor, the blood pressure gone up, and then when they go home, the blood pressure is normal. And because of that, some persons are placed on long-term high blood pressure medication. You start distrusting the 3 blood pressure medication machine that you have at home. No, there is a thing called white coat hypertension. So that's something that you have to be careful with. All right, have your blood pressure machine at home. It's very, very critical. When it's elevated, of course, you can go through different things. So this elevated zone is not that bad because sometimes you go through stress, sometimes you go through different things, and after exercise, for example, your blood pressure is in the elevated range, right? Stage 1 hypertension. This is when the blood pressure is between 130, 139, which is systolic, the top number, and 80 to 89 diastolic, and you have stage 2, that's severe hypertension and hypertensive emergency, right? So you can read up on that. Yes, so you have many factors which contribute to high blood pressure. Poor diet. So if you eat up the fried foods, the fast processed food, you're going to, yeah, more than likely you're working. It says genetics load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So whatever you do, which is not healthy, which violates the laws of health, yes, you have high blood pressure if you're violating the laws of health where that is concerned. All right, so excess weight or obesity, being overweight puts extra strain on your heart and blood vessels. Lack of physical activity. So persons who have that sedentary lifestyle, it can lead to weight gain and higher blood pressure. Chronic stress, we spoke about that. We spoke about adaptogens such as ashwagandha and rhodiola that helps with lessening the stress level, lessening the cortisol. You have alcohol, not a food group, it should not be taken into the body. That also increase the blood pressure. Alcohol directly attacks uh the circulation pathways, different pathways, and it directly affects and promotes high blood pressure. So for persons who are on here, the one of the biggest advice is keep out alcohol out of your diet. Oh, totally. Nicotine, no, nicotine narrows the blood vessels and raise blood pressure. Genetics, high blood pressure can run in the family, but you don't have to have it if you change the way you do things. So if your mother or father cooks a certain way, if they fry up the chicken and then they just pour the water on the oil and you have all this oil swimming on the top and you take up that or a lot of salt, MSGs or a lot of processed food and you pass down they pass down that cooking method to you, then of course you will have what they have, right? But you can change. Age, risk increases as you get older due to changes in blood vessels. And I always tell persons that look, as you get older, the general health guidelines, of course, you stick to that. But also you have to look at your body in a more specific way. Heart, what are some heart healthy food? What are some heart specific supplements? You take those, liver, kidneys, you become a little bit more specific because your body, because of sin and so on, we naturally decrease in everything, every aspect of our life. So it's very good to pay attention, especially men, when the erection issue is giving issue, when you have erectile dysfunction, guess what? Men naturally want to just focus on the erection. Anything that can, give them back that erection. But guess what? It's the cause is that there is a circulation issue that you have to address. Yes, and most persons they don't do that. They just go to the Viagra because they want that specific thing and not thinking about it in a general form that look, the cause is a circulation issue. I have to address the circulation issue. I have to exercise more, pay attention to my diet, and I will get back my bodily function. You know? Yeah, poor sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, definitely that triggers high blood pressure. Certain medical conditions like kidney, diabetes, thyroid issues, these contribute to high blood pressure. Certain medications and supplements can cause high blood pressure as well. A lot of like supplements with caffeine, for example. I remember visiting this young gentleman and he had very high blood pressure, like 200 and something over 100 and something, very high. And I said, no, man, he's trying his best to do, change the diet, change the lifestyle and so on. And it was just not going down. Put him on some herbal therapy. He went down a little bit. And then, one man said, ask him to bring every supplement that he has because he's big on supplementation. When I look, he said that he went and he got a specific supplement for energy. When I look at this supplement, it has a very high dose caffeine in it. Very abnormally high dose of caffeine. So I'm like, this is the issue. So certain you have to, it's always best to consult with a health practitioner. You have doctors, you have so many different presenters on here to see if certain supplements that you're taking Even drugs as well, even worse. Because a lot of drugs, I remember sharing with a gentleman, he had constant headaches. The doctors gave him something for the headache, and then the side effect of the drug is headache. Right? Crazy. So that's the reality, and we have to understand this that we have to take care of our bodies. Nobody's gonna do that for us. So lifestyle changes for hypertension. Do not use processed meats or canned vegetables. They're very high in salt and very high in nitrates. Stress, you have stress, fear, anger, pain, increases blood pressure. So please, if one of the biggest thing that I think is triggering hypertension nowadays is unforgiveness and guilt, you know? So lesson, whoever you need to forgive, whatever you need to let go. Yeah. Gradually start your mild exercise. Walk outdoors gradually. So don't just say, all right, the presenter said I should exercise, and then you go and you start, I said gradually. So build up the amount of time spent in the outdoor walking. So you walk for 10 minutes today for this week, and then they say, okay, let me walk for 20 minutes. Yes, so gradually. Avoid fried foods for oil, for to get in your fatty acids. You can take your 2 tablespoons of flaxseed oil daily. Use no animal fat of any kind. It is best to avoid meat since there is so much of it in meat, which is animal fat. Garlic lowers blood pressure. It normalizes it. However, I realized that long-term use of garlic, it starts to not have full effect on the blood pressure, especially if you're not correcting what is happening and you're taking the garlic, okay? The lifestyle adjustments have to take place. Obtain sufficient rest at night. Do not eat later than several hours before bed. Eliminate all dairy. Yes, dairy quite contrary. They're very high in sodium. It's the most allergenic food that there is, which is your cheese, your cow's milk, um, your whatever dairy products. So do not use salt. This is essential for lowering your blood pressure, and you look on your label, sometimes you don't see salt, this is sodium, this is soda. You see sometimes they're even putting the elements on it so that you won't know that it's salt. Monosodium glutamate. I saw something that says no added MSG. So persons take it up and say, oh, no MSG is there. No, it says no added MSG. So there is a specific amount that they put in it and then they didn't add any more. It's a food ploy, okay? Baking soda, saccharin, soy sauce, very high in sodium. Diet soft drinks, very high in sodium. Cran water, very high in sodium. They literally do a salt sugar mix so that it tastes fresh but is high in sodium. Preservatives, meat tenderizers, softened water as well. All right, so we're gonna go to diabetes, and I think that's the last one. So type 1, this is when no insulin is produced. So that's autoimmune. Type 2, lifestyle, age, pancreatitis. Sometimes it's just the pancreas is inflamed. All right. So causes diabetes is a major problem, and we have so many books written on these topics. Of the 2 types of diabetes insipidus is the more rare and is caused by an inadequately functioning pituitary hormone or kidneys which somehow cannot respond properly to it. You have diabetes mellitus. is the third largest killer in the US and is caused by a defect of production of insulin by the pancreas, right? So we know, and also there's a study that came out about type 1 diabetes in connection to milk. In connection to cold milk introduction in the child's early years because there's a protein in the milk, casein, which is very similar to that of the beta cells in the pancreas. So when the body does, it attacks the cell, it sees the cow's milk protein as an antigen, it attacks it, but it also attacks the cells of the pancreas and sometimes wholly kills the cells. All right, so lifestyle changes, stop eating sugar. So the whites, I met a lady and she was telling me about her situation where she was diagnosed with diabetes and they put her on metformin. And what happened was that she had a terrible allergic reaction to metformin. And she said, she took up her health in her hand. She stopped eating all sugar, any sweet stuff. She stopped taking in the white flour, stopped taking in the whites. And she said that her up until today, her blood sugar levels are normal. Yes, so you have to be radical when it comes to these things. You have to be radical if you want to reverse your diabetes or your hypertension, right? We had an entire session on vegetable oil, excess vegetable oils or vegetable oils on a whole, how they are very inflammatory, especially cottonseed oil, which is very poisonous and is the cheapest on the market. And so a lot of persons usually use that. Okay. Rancid nuts and seeds, they're very highly inflammatory. Totally avoid tobacco and those who use it because it restricts circulation, it will aggravate your condition. Eat smaller meals if necessary, right? So smaller meals. Chew the food thoroughly. Do not eat late in the evening. Overeating can induce diabetes or increase it once contracted, but do not eat fruits and melons in large amounts. Fruits like melons and pine, I know their glycemic index is very high. Apples and bananas, if you have diabetes, that is, their glycemic index is very high. You'd have to, especially, it depends on the type of apples, but of course, you eat in moderation. That's a law within itself, right? Do not eat milk and sugar combination. Coffee can induce a high blood sugar, very high blood sugar levels. A fat-free diet will help reduce blood sugar. Eat your meals at regular time and do not be in a rush to swallow the food. The quicker you eat, the higher the higher goes the blood sugar. I know time is far spent, so I'm trying to just rush through. Eat raw garlic every day to reduce your blood sugar. Get enough exercise. It will improve circulation, which is always poor in diabetics. Of course, you have diabetic ulcers because the circulation is poor. This will also help lower your blood sugar. Onions and green beans appear to lower blood sugar. A diet high in raw food is also helpful. One individual, dropped his insulin dosage from 60 to 15 units per day by increasing his raw food intake. So raw food intake is very, very vital. And if you notice, I haven't put any like herbs here for the hypertension and diabetes. And it's because of my experiences, right? It's very important if you're gonna go on a health journey of reversing these illnesses, you need help. You need a health practitioner to do that. And I've seen persons who say, all right, you take this and you take this herb and you take that herb, and that's good for your diabetes. And guess what? Persons take that, they aren't patient. They maybe do the herbal mix one for 1 week with no lifestyle changes and end up in the hospital. Yes, I've seen it. I've seen a lot. And so get working with someone, with a practitioner, get with the, get working with someone, because I've seen persons, I message persons and they're like, okay, how is your diet? How is your exercise? You need an accountability partner. I have teas for diabetes, but guess what? I also give persons an outline of changes that they need to make, because that is critical. If it's a lifestyle disease, it means that you have to change your lifestyle, because you're not going to be on herbs forever. The world tells you that you need to be on diabetic drugs and high blood pressure medication for the rest of your life. If you're switching to doing it the natural way, you need help, but you're not going to be on herbs forever. You have to still make the sacrifice, as the coach said earlier, and make the lifestyle changes. All right? So make the lifestyle change, lose the weight if it needs to be lost, and ensure that you press on in maintaining those lifestyle changes. All right, so lifestyle changes continue. These are just quotations from the book before I wrap up. It says, diet. It is important to become familiar with the benefit of dieting in case of sickness. All right, so as I said earlier, sometimes your body tells you what it wants. I remember my husband's family, he was telling me about I think it would be my husband's great grandmother. She lived until she was 110. That's, like a record. And they were telling me about the peculiarities of how her body demands different things at different times. So you have to work with your body. When you're sick, you don't want to eat much. You eat little, and sometimes you just feel for fruits. When animals are ill, what do? They go and they pick like a goat. When you have goats, I don't know if you grow with goats, and when they're ill, they go at a specific section and they pick specific herbs. Yes, your body, you have that in you too, right? Your body tells you what it wants at different times, especially if your appetite is not seared. So indulging in eating too frequently and in too large quantities overtax the digestive organs and produce a feverish state of the system. The blood becomes impure, and then diseases of various kinds occur. A physician is sent for who will prescribe some drugs which gives present relief, but which does not cure the disease. And that's what we normally happen. That's the story of most person's life. It may change the form of the disease, but the real evil is increased tenfold because we don't ascertain the cause. So it changes the form. Many times persons, they have hormonal imbalances. Okay, you're put on contraceptives and they start gaining a lot of weight. Body start going out of whack. The high blood pressure start, your appetite increase, diabetes kick in, so many things. It changes the form, but the underlying issue is still there. All right, so I think I did this before. So a closing pledge, that's something that, if you feel the need to, you can pledge to yourself. It says, I must become acquainted with myself. I must be a learner always as to how to take care of this building, the body God has given me, that I may preserve it in the very best condition of health. I must eat those things which will be for my very best good physically. And I must take special care to have my clothing, such as will conduce to a healthful condition of the blood. I must not deprive myself of exercise and air. So exercise should be a must. I must get all the sunlight that it is possible for me to obtain. I must have wisdom to be a faithful guardian of my body. I should eat regularly of the most healthful food, which will make the best quality of blood. And I should not work intemperately if it is in my power to avoid doing so, which is overwork, right? And when I violate the laws of God, And when I violate the laws God has established in my being, I am to repent and reform and place myself in the most favorable condition under the doctors God has provided, which are pure air, pure water, and the healing, precious sunlight. All right, Camille, I'm passing over to you. Thank you so much for being on for so long. Thank
Yes,
you for having me.
you're welcome. However, we have some time left. We just want to spend some more time with you. You know, the we always say the good is part for this time. All right. Let me see here. All right. So just before we get into this little back and forth we'll be having, how may those who want to get in touch with you get in touch with you?
My number,
You want to type it? Just type it out in the chat, just in case you mentioned something that sparked some interest or something like that for further inquiry. All right, thank you for taking the time and going through some of these things. I want to ask, I saw a question earlier on in the chat. I'm going to take up a few of them now. I wanted to ask you about someone like when you're getting the flu, you get that little itch in the throat, that little flu feeling. What is something that you can do at the very outset to prevent getting sick?
okay. So I'm speaking from experience. So what I normally do is that I have vitamin C. So I have very high dose vitamin C for children up to 2,000 milligram, which is 2 gram. Normally, vitamin C is in 1,000. They're given in 1,000 milligram capsules or tablets. So for children, I give my children 1,000 milligrams in the morning, 1,000 at in the evening. I also give them vitamin D as well and zinc as well. I realize that those they cut viral replication, boost immunity, and they, as I said, they overcome it maybe within a day or two maximum, and myself as well, my family.
Okay, thank you for that. Just wanted to add as well. If it's very early, you can just get into a warm bath. A warm bath helps. You did mention that, Sharice, earlier on about fever raising the temperature. Well, the thing about it is that as we age, our ability to raise a temperature efficiently actually decreases. And we saw that a lot in COVID, where elderly persons tended to get sicker than those who were younger. Because as children and as young adults, you raise a fever very efficiently and quickly. So getting to some heated situation, if you don't have a sauna, of course, a
Mm.
warm heating up the body does help, but you have to do these things early. Okay. I wanted to know a little bit about, you said earlier on, it seems like you were saying that we have to be obedient to the laws of health and use these remedies. And that's how we get the best. That's how we get the multiplying effect, by being obedient to the laws of health and then using the remedies. In your experience, have you come across the idea that we're using these remedies without trying to get back in sync with the laws of health? Have you come across that kind of impatience or so on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, that happens. And what I normally do is to ensure to educate persons to remind them that the biggest thing is what they can do, which is changing the lifestyle, especially the diet. I realize that's a hard one. So, but I think that persons, they genuinely don't know sometimes. So you say, okay, change the diet, no meat, and they don't know what to do. I've had persons who don't know what lentil is. And so we have to, I realize that it's holistic. Um, Attacking any disease, it must be in a holistic way, where you actually go in there with the person and help them along. And that is the reason why, as I said earlier, that I don't advocate, take this for this, take this for that, take that for that. Because when you're dealing with diseases, you need more than just that. Persons generally aren't patient, they aren't educated enough in terms of how to properly use these herbs. I've had persons who I tell them, okay, you can use this herb for a particular reason, and I give them the dosage. I said, this is the amount that you need to use. And the person used 4 times and said that, they just feel good with the herb and that's what they're gonna do. And I remember typing out, I remember calling them, begging them, say, look, please stop that, stop taking that. That's too much. And then things happen, issues start occurring, and you said that, look, I'm so sorry, I never listened to you, and so on. So it takes skillful use, and
Okay.
it's best if you're overcoming something that you have persons that can help you, because yeah, persons generally grow impatient, and they go back to herbs and say that they go back to the drugs and say that herbs don't work.
Amen. So what you're saying. Someone asked in the chat about measuring inflammation in the body. As we talk about rational remedies, of course, we're going to talk about what you can do. We're going to talk about what you can do. You can also visit a functional medicine physician who will positively order a targeted inflammation panel, C-reactive and ferritin and some other things. All right. However, you as a person, what are some signs, Sharice, that you can tell us, which you would say like are signs that inflammation in the body is high?
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so as I said, the puffiness of the face, the unnatural puffiness of the face, different pains and aches. Sometimes the areas are red, different issues like arthritis, gout. It tells you that, look, something is happening and you need to get it checked. Inflammation also comes on the skin, in the form of eczema. So you have different symptoms that occur, and it's just your body's way of telling you that, look, don't just fix what you see, but fix it internally. And I realize that many persons are going towards an anti-inflammatory diet as well as on anti-inflammatory teas, which is good. But of course, changing the diet is vital. Inflammatory food, and I think once you're on these inflammatory food, they will speak itself. You know, if you're on dairy, if you find that you just have the urge to always want the dairy, want the cheese, you want the cow's milk, or if you're on it naturally as a part of your normal routine, then your body is in an inflammatory mode. Sometimes even from you're young, but it just doesn't it doesn't come in the form of sickness until you're older. And so sometimes they categorize even rheumatoid arthritis as old person's disease
Mhm.
or and so
Mhm.
on, but the inflammation was already setting based on the diet. So once you're on a you have a diet which is meat-based and highly dairy-based, your body's going through it. Sometimes it just doesn't show at that time.
Amazing. In what I do medical imaging, and many times people have chronic pain, and when you do like
Mhm.
an image, whether it be an X-ray, many times CT, it doesn't show anything.
Mhm.
However, when it does show up is when it's already advanced and has done damage that you cannot
Mhm.
lesions. But on a cellular level, inflammation was going on, and
Mhm.
get the signals. But many times we're not so keyed or educated in a natural way to recognize these signals. So thank you for that. I don't want to hold you long, but I really, for me, many few things stop me, but I hate a headache. Okay. A headache is something that debilitates me. And you'd say, what a big strong man or a little strong man and a little headache. But a headache, um, I know what are some causes of the average headache, and if you don't mind sharing a herb or two or something that we can do to deal with a headache when we get one.
Okay, so the headache we have it can be caused due to dehydration, which is the biggest form at this point. Many persons are not intentional about drinking their water. Magnesium deficiency is a big deal as well. Stress is a big deal too. When you're stressed, the cortisol level rises and it's directly attached to um, aches and pains, especially in the head. Sinus issues can also trigger headache. Eye issues can also trigger headache. And of course, we want to pay attention to headaches, especially if you are hypertensive, because your it increases blood pressure. Some herbs include like comfrey. You have your Jamaican dogwood. It's most places here in Jamaica has it. Yes, so you also have your white willow, which I wouldn't recommend for persons who are hypertensive. You also have Guinea hen weed. It's very good for sinusitis as well. But one thing too is that it's good to do a cleanse because sometimes it's something which is inside in the colon, in the blood, maybe heavy metals that is triggering the headaches as well. So you definitely want to view it from a holistic level, or sometimes it can be as simple as you eat something, if you eat like peanuts or eat dairy, and then it comes on, just stop or eliminate those.
Thank you for sharing that. And just the last question here. I know we got to go, but I really want to go from a simpler illness to something big, cancer. I know you didn't, I know cancer is a nuanced thing. Each individual body may be at different levels to deal with a cancer and different
Yeah.
cancers. So do you have any testimonies you want to give, or in just a general word on cancer? Like,
Okay.
oh,
All right. So I think in my ministry, I'm very passionate about cancer. When I was young, my father died from cancer, and so it was something that I always studied. And now, being a natural health practitioner, I realize that the Lord is sending so many persons with the issues my way. What I've seen is through lifestyle changes, no meat, no dairy, because when that big C hits, whatever is counseled, I realize that it's easier for persons to follow, right? So I've seen many persons, many bodies. It says that not all diseases can be cured, but not all bodies can be cured, unfortunately. And the reason for that is long-term abuse of a body. Sometimes the disease just take it over quickly. And, that's very unfortunate. But I've seen many persons, many cancers been reversed, and praise to the Lord for that through different, as I said, lifestyle changes, herbal therapy, depending on the types of cancer, you have to view them differently. As I said, I spoke about, for example, the seed oils, which are so inflammatory and the body does not like them. And you have this lady, she, was going through everything. And I'm like, why is this not working? And she was on seed oils, so different persons have different things to let go. And so you have to treat cancers differently. But in general, though, cleansing the body, cleansing the liver, cleansing the colon, cleansing the lymph, cleansing the body of parasites. What else? Colon, liver, blood, parasites, kidney, just cleansing the body. When you cleanse it, the body will do its fair work, and helping the body creating an alkaline environment is the way to go, because cancer thrives on acidity. So if you can increase your greens, your green juicing, reduce the acidic processed food, reduce the dairy, which is acidic, reduce the sugar, take out the sugar out your diet, take out the meat out your diet, have someone to guide you in how to transition. That body, if not abused too much, that cancer can be reversed.
That's so hopeful. I hope
Yeah,
everyone here this evening have hope, because sometimes a diagnosis, a bad news is enough to get down someone,
yeah,
and they must know that there is hope, in
absolutely.
as much as they are willing to change and to have faith.
Yes.
But that's the work of the Lord. That's not knocking traditional medicine, but we just need people to be aware. Many times you take one thing and you end up into another situation. You have an autoimmune diagnosis, they start to turn down the immune system and cancer gets away. Because once the immune system is affected, cancer comes on the scene. You have diabetes, they start giving you insulin, and whatever cancers are there, catch that growth factor that's in insulin and starts to grow. So I tell you, it's like fixing one thing and then another, you have the problem coming up. So really and truly a holistic approach, as you're saying here. We know we didn't have a lot of time. We need parts 1, 2, and 3 dealing with specific issues. And in the future, even after this series is done, we do plan to have those focus sessions going forward, not every week. And I'm looking forward to having you back on as a guest, speaking on something specific where we can get more out of the subject in that short time. But tonight,
Mhm.
it was really good spending the time with you. And thank you for taking the time to come. We know that you're very busy. And thank you for giving to the Lord. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. For everyone here, before you go, we want to pray. Next week will be prayer for the sick. Oh, yes. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is prayer for the sick. Everybody wants you to pray for them. God is in the healing business still. But we want to know how to pray to get our prayers answered, especially when it comes to sickness. That's one you do not want to miss. All right. So prepare for that. Let's pray and let's send off everyone here this evening.